at 100.7 The Point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
Please press button now. No, that number's bigger than the one I said.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sports Talk Media Network. It's a Wednesday night here in South Carolina after another gorgeous day. Glad you're with us. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel all together as we head into a Wednesday night of basketball once again. ACC, SEC, and, of course, games around the state, including that big one at Upstate between Winthrop and Upstate. Great having Dave Dickerson on with us last night. Great stuff from him. All right, I'm going to take a moment here if you'll give me an opportunity. I'm going to take a moment, and I'm going to run down and describe all the foul shots Clemson shot last night at Duke. Stand by. Here we go. He dips, he shoots, he misses. That's it. One free throw attempt in 40 minutes for Clemson.
I told you last night. Clemson would not get any foul calls, and it's not a coincidence. If you look at Duke throughout this season, first off, they have played 3 true road games, which is insane for any team inside the top 15. But they have, Phil, get this, they have made more free throws, 40 more free throws than their opponents have attempted.
Well,
now you tell me Mike Krzyzewski doesn't. You tell me Mike Krzyzewski doesn't get calls at home.
They had very short arms last night when the Tigers were shooting the basketball. You know, last night Duke was whistled for 6 fouls in the first half, 4 fouls in the second half. So Clemson never got to the 1-and-1.
Right.
Now, it wasn't like it was a foul fest. I think Clemson had – so Duke had a total of 10 fouls and Clemson had a total of 14, I believe. So there wasn't a huge discrepancy there. It's just when the fouls were called. And, I mean, look, you're telling me that the number of shots Clemson took outside, driving, inside, there weren't some touches by the Duke players on the Clemson players' arms, bodies, some pushing, something when they were going through the motion of shooting. They only had the one foul that was called that led to a free throw was Hemingway when he made the layup, and he went to the line to attempt a three-point play, and he missed.
He's their best three-point shooter, ironically enough.
Yeah.
He and Alamir Doris.
But he missed the free throw. He missed the free throw. And so that's the second time. I had Tim Beret looked it up and let us know about it. Second time in 43 years that he could find where Clemson played a basketball game and they took only one free throw. The other time was in 2015 against Miami. They took one free throw. So, again, you're right. It's obscene. It's happened so many times over the years. You know, you like to discount the theory that it's a conspiracy against the teams not on Tobacco Road that travel on to Tobacco Road, especially that 6-mile strip between Durham and Chapel Hill. Mm-hmm. And you're just going to get screwed royally. But it just happens time and time and time again, especially really to a team like Clemson. A few years ago, several years ago, I don't even remember the numbers now, when they were playing North Carolina, might have been back in the Rick Barnes era. I went back and I went through decades of Clemson, North Carolina games and added up the number of fouls called on Clemson versus the number of fouls called on North Carolina. It was so lopsided. It was ridiculous. Now, I know in some cases you're trailing, which Clemson is most of the time when they play North Carolina and Duke, and you're fouling to catch up. But still, you take that into consideration, it's still so one-sided. It's ridiculous.
Well, but it's not just Clemson, though, because of that stat I brought up to you. Duke is 255 and 348 at the foul line this season.
Mm-hmm.
Their opponents are 141 and 215. And the reason I bring up the lack of true road games is because they play so many games inside Cameron, and no one calls any fouls on them. They're scared to death. It's obvious the officials are intimidated by Mike Krzyzewski, and especially knowing it's his last year. And you can't tell me that the ACC has not said, let's make sure Duke gets in to the NCAA tournament and has a good seed, because we'd like to see Coach K go out on a positive note. Now, the question is going to be moving forward. Is this going to change at both North Carolina now that Roy Williams and Dean Smith and that era is out of the mix, and now that Mike Krzyzewski is moving on? Is this going to change, or are we going to still see a situation where Clemson, whenever they go to Duke or whenever they go to North Carolina, they're already down 10 at the opening tip and have to constantly battle their way back uphill?
Yeah. They'll be protecting the legacy.
No doubt.
As long as they can. They'll protect the legacy as long as they can around the ACC when it comes to ACC basketball and North Carolina and Duke in particular. I mean, they are the crown jewels of the league in that sport, have been and always will be. And, you know, the rest of them just have to understand that. And you could, you know, Brownell was asked about it after the game last night, and he just sort of shrugged. Yeah, seen that before when I've come up here to Cameron. But, you know, one free throw in today's basketball where, you know, you watch South Carolina and like Georgia shot 22 free throws in the first half the other day. And here's Clemson playing Duke. And Duke's as aggressive as anybody is on defense, right? Are they that good on defense that they can be in your grill and they just don't foul? There's no knee to the legs. There's no arm across the arm. There's no hand on the hip, no kind of hip check. There's nothing on a shooter. You know, I mean, I'm saying they did have 10 fouls called against them, but only one when a Clemson player was in the act of shooting, and that was that late.
Here's why I have to balance wanting to see good flow and rhythm in college basketball versus just getting homered, as Clemson did obviously last night. Because if you watch the ball game, it was a terrific basketball game to watch. It had great rhythm, great flow up and down the floor. Clemson probably shot too many three-pointers to get to the line. Now, obviously, they should have gotten to the foul line more than once. I think we can all, normal people, not Duke fans, can look at that and say it's ridiculous. But that being said, I would err on the side of less fouls being called in college basketball, because I don't show up to a game wanting to see free throw shooting. I want to see, you know, the two teams play and go up and down the floor and have great flow and rhythm, as we saw for the most part last night. And let's face it, I mean, Duke didn't shoot that many more free throws. I mean, ultimately, you could say, well, the 11 they made a huge difference in a 2-point game, but they only shot 13. For a game, that's not a whole lot of free throws attempted.
Not at all. No, from that standpoint, the whistles did not dominate. But when one side only shoots one foul shot.
Oh, I agree.
That raises eyebrows by even the most casual fan. You look at that and you go, what? That just doesn't look normal. So anyway, Clemson gave it a great effort. We'll let you hear from Brownell coming up in a little bit. Disappointing loss for them. One they really, really could have used. And it's just another loss in Cameron. That's 20 in a row. Clemson has lost at Cameron indoor, and they've only won 4 times there in their history. 62-4 all time now for the Dukies against Clemson. So that's no surprise that they lost up there. I think the surprise is that they played it so close. Even really good Clemson teams have gone up there and laid an egg. They went up there and played it close, and they only took one foul shot. That's just mind-boggling in today's basketball. All right, tonight, South Carolina is at home to Vanderbilt. The Gamecocks going for the sweep of the Commodores, having defeated them for their first SEC win earlier this month in Nashville. And then they beat Georgia Saturday. So the Gamecocks are going for their second SEC win in a row, a chance to put something together. Little back-to-back SEC victories here before they go on the road to Texas A&M this coming weekend. And then, in fact, the Gamecocks are going to stay on the road. They're not going to return home. From what I read, they're going to stay on the road because they play at Mississippi State on February the 1st. Now, the Gamecocks, I'd go back and look at their schedule. They might play more Tuesday night games than anybody in the SEC. It seems like they're playing every Tuesday night almost, even though they're playing tonight, which is a Wednesday. Seems like they are constantly playing on Tuesday nights. Anyway, Vanderbilt
They've got 4
tonight,
Tuesday games left to go, Phil.
Is
the
that
remainder
right?
of the season, they've got 4 more Tuesday night contests, so you may not be that far off.
Yeah, that's a lot of Tuesday night games. The Gamecocks are 11-7, 2-4. Vanderbilt is 10-8 and 2-4. Of course, they've got Scottie Pippen Jr., somebody you have got to be concerned with at all times. He's one of the best players in the SEC. So they did a good job on him in Nashville. We'll see what they do tonight. South Carolina and Vanderbilt tipping off a little bit after 7 o'clock, which reminds me to remind you that here on Sports Talk, if you happen to lose us over the air from one of our stations, you can always, if you want to stay with us, you can do so by jumping on our Twitter at SportsTalkSC. We have the video feed going there. We have the video feed going on YouTube and as well on our Facebook channel. So you can stay with us there. And the audio stream on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. Just click on the link where it says listen to the Sports Talk stream. Chris Mack was officially, I guess he and Louisville reached an agreement today for his departure, getting a nice payoff to leave the program at Louisville. Details are being finalized according to a report, and it looks like it's going to be negotiated to about $4.8 million. His buyout was $12 million heading into the season. So the pending settlement, according to Matt Norlander, is 4.8. I wonder how they got from 12 down to 4.8.
There was some NCAA sort of sniffing around Louisville last year or the year before with an assistant coach there that was sort of blackmailing the program. So that may have had something to do with it. They may have looked at Chris Mack and said, "Look, we sort of got you through last year. You need to cut us some slack here on the buyout." But I'm really astonished that he did not do a better job at Louisville. When he was coming out of Xavier, he was one of the hot coaches in the country, and I thought that was a genius hire by the Cardinals to bring him in. But, boy, it has collapsed on them in a hurry.
It absolutely has. Yeah. And, they have a proud program, a proud history. They're used to winning a lot of games and making deep runs in the tournament and competing with Kentucky. So, they want to get back to where they were. Meantime, last night, of course, Auburn had quite the battle on their hands, but they managed to win on the road last night in a great ball game and hold on to that number 1 ranking here at midweek. I mean, they're not going to lose it because of the fact they won that game last night, but that was a heck of a ball game, and Auburn had to rely on their strengths, which, well, they've got several, but winning at Missouri is not easy, 55-54. But their backcourt was very good last night, as it normally is, and just enough to get by the Tigers. Of course, Kentucky beat Mississippi State. How about Georgia knocking off Alabama last night by 6? Didn't see that coming. College of Charleston, a 1-point winner over William and Mary. Pittsburgh handled Syracuse. Syracuse having a tough season. And that was the rundown from around here. Out west last night, UCLA beat Arizona by 16. If you didn't stay up for that, that was number 7 over number 3, 75-59. So we will update tonight's schedule for you. Besides South Carolina and Vanderbilt, lots of other basketball as well. Winthrop at Upstate. Go over all of that. Give you some more notes from our Founders Federal Notebook tonight. We'll have a complete recruiting report for you. We're going to have a commitment coming up at 7:30 tonight. Kobe McLeod, linebacker from Tampa, Florida, ready to make his commitment public. He was at Clemson this past weekend. Of course, his brother, Ray McLeod, a former Tiger. So that'll be coming down at 7:30. And more recruiting news to come as well. And we'll take your phone calls after the break.
Sports fans, are you in it to win it? Join South Carolina's fight against COVID-19 by getting your vaccine today. Vaccines are safe and will help stabilize school operations by bringing us back together safely. The CDC recommends everyone 5 years and older get vaccinated. Visit scdhec.gov/VaxLocator or call 866-365 8110 to find a vaccination station near you.
Save like a pro with Founders Federal Credit Union. Founders Loyalty Select account gives you the opportunity to grow your savings at our best rate yet. Fund your account through your favorite Loyalty Select product to get savings today. Not a member yet? Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
We're back on Sports Talk. Our phone number, 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to reach us here on Sports Talk. And since 2002, more than $6 billion in lottery proceeds have been used to support South Carolina educational programs. Learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at sceducationlottery.com/education. Wins and playing for fun is a win for education. All right, we'll get to your calls in just a second. Basketball tonight as we check out our Founders Federal notebook for tonight. Remember, at Founders Federal, you can get mortgage notes right now as low as 2.33%. I did see where the Fed said they're going to be raising the rates here in March, so you might want to move on that. Some games already underway. Florida has jumped on Tennessee early, 23-10. Winthrop and Upstate are underway. It's 24-21 Winthrop, just past the midway point first half. Presbyterian at Charleston Southern tonight. Miami at Virginia Tech. Boston College at North Carolina. Wofford at Chattanooga. VMI at Furman. Western Carolina at the Citadel. Arkansas at Ole Miss. Texas A&M at LSU. NC State, Notre Dame. Florida State at Georgia Tech. All right, that's the schedule in our area. And a couple of other things I wanted to mention. Wofford football coach Josh Conklin announced the hiring of a new defensive coordinator, co-defensive coordinator, Andrew Warwick. Last 3 seasons, linebackers coach at Troy. He was DC at Jacksonville State in 2018. He also spent 6 seasons in various roles at Clemson from 2012 through 2017.
Got good bloodlines because that Troy defense has been really, really good the last few years.
Mm-hmm. Brandon Spector, Clemson receiver, tweeted out this afternoon that because he did not play this past season due to medical issues, he's decided to reclassify, and he'll be a redshirt sophomore in 2022. So gives him 3 more years. Big Ten considering the elimination of divisions, and that seems to be one of the hot topics of the day nationally, that they're looking at doing that. They're considering a scheduling model that would eliminate divisions, reduce conference games to 8 on the season. This is coming from the Iowa athletics director. The Big Ten plays a 9-game schedule now that features 6 divisional and 3 cross-divisional games. However, the league could reevaluate its positioning after its media rights expire following this season. We'll see what happens if anybody follows the league. The SEC is not going to do – well, you can still have your – well, you know, the thing is about divisions, if I'm not mistaken, the NCAA had a rule that said the only way you could play a championship game was to have divisions.
That is correct. That's why the SEC
there was expansion, and that's why they went to divisions, right?
Yep, you're exactly right, Phil. And when Oklahoma and Texas come into the SEC, I know they don't care what my opinion is, but I would like to see the SEC go away from divisions to the 14 pods and get 4 teams in each sort of sector that are relatively close in terms of geography. And I think once you are able to rotate through, you'd actually get into a situation where teams would get to play everybody in the conference before the end of their 4 or 5 year stint in terms of their players coming in. But I find this fascinating that the Big Ten believes the only reason they're not getting more run into the college football playoff is because they're in divisions. Hasn't really hurt the SEC, has it?
Not really. Not really. Okay. with that being said, let's get to your phone calls. 888-898-2525 is our phone number. As we go first to what you got, Pat?
We are going to Danny over in Florence.
I knew I'd ring Danny's bell by talking about puke the way we did tonight. Danny, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you?
Phil, I guess Chris, your sidekick there, was using the term earlier, normal people. So I guess I'm not a normal person. I don't know.
How are you not normal, Danny?
Well, he said normal people should think this, and normal people should think that, and normal people should think what he's thinking. Okay.
Well, he's a pretty normal guy as far as I can tell.
Right.
So tell me why you're not normal, Danny.
Well, I'm just saying that
because Danny's upset. Danny's up. He believes. If I can speak, can I speak for you for a second, Danny? Knowing you as long as I have. Danny believes that no team should be allowed to shoot a free throw against Duke. That one foul shot against Duke is one too many. Am I right?
Well, if you had a reputation and a history of any caliber, maybe you would be in a situation where you cry and bitch about every game you lose.
Okay. I'm just pointing out that you believe that no team should ever shoot a free throw against Duke. That's all I'm saying.
And also insinuating that Duke is cheating because of Coach K's last year, I think it's kind of stupid.
No, I don't think. Were you saying that Duke was cheating, Chris, or the officials were cheating?
I think the officials not cheating, but I think they're intimidated. I think they're intimidated. And Danny, you can't tell me that you looked at last night's ball game and believe that game was officiated fairly when one team shoots one free throw over 40 minutes.
Seriously, Danny, you're not accepting that as a true win, are you?
Well, I think when Duke only has one turnover in the second half, that was pivotal and winning. And Duke also had a 7-point lead 3 different times in the second half.
And Clemson fought back.
Right.
To their credit.
But one turnover.
Mm-hmm.
They had 3 turnovers in the second half, not one.
No, we had one.
Yeah, 12 for the game.
3 in the second half, too.
Yeah, they had a lot in the first half. They only had 1 second half. So
3.
I mean, that was a pivotal point in the
You can go on ESPN and look at the box score. It was 3.
Hey, Clemson had 15. Clemson had more fast break. I thought you guys were the fast break kings. Clemson fast broke you 15-6.
Listen, Chris, I watched Coach K's press conference, and there was a reporter in there. One of your colleagues said it was 1.
Okay.
Well,
I didn't question that, but that's fine.
We're going to look
and that's outstanding. 1 or 3. That's not the point. But that's not the point.
First half box right now. The first half box, and in the first half, Duke had 9 turnovers in the first half. What'd they finish with total? 12?
12.
Okay, 9 and 12 is 3.
Well, I'm just telling you what they said.
Well, they were wrong.
Okay. Well, that's still significant.
No doubt. There's no question. Duke played well, but my point is the fact that the other team, whomever it is, just happened to be Clemson in this case, shot 1 free throw, and for the season, Duke has made 40, what did I tell you earlier, 40 or 50 more free throws than their opponents have attempted. You can't tell me that officials aren't intimidated going into Cameron to officiate against Duke.
What do you think Duke's doing? Threatening them or paying them or what?
I don't know.
I kind of go with the paying idea.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. Well, we won, didn't we?
You did. You did win. That's 20 in a row over Clemson at Cameron. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I knew Danny would be the first one up tonight after we just, cut up Duke into small pieces there.
We didn't cut up Duke, Phil. We just pointed out the obvious that everybody else outside of Danny who watched last night's ball game realized, you know what, this is probably not being officiated quite fairly, considering one team shoots 1 free throw for 40 minutes.
It's just odd. That's all I'm saying.
There's no question it's odd.
You're a little more, hard-hitting. To me, it's just odd to look
It happens all the time, though. That's if it were an anomaly with Duke at Cameron, it'd be one thing. But again, I brought you the facts.
Well,
the amount of free throws that Duke attempts are more, and the makes are more than their opponents have attempted. And again, this is a team who never goes on the road unless required by the ACC. So I'm just telling you.
Well,
There's
Let
no
me-
way to go into
let
Cameron
me
and
just
have a
say
fair
this.
fight with them.
Let me just say this. P.J. Hall took 21 shots last night from the floor. He took 0 free throws. 21 times he shot the ball. He took 0 free throws. Let's just take a look here on the Duke side. Oh, here's Mark Williams. He took 3 shots, and he had 5 free throw attempts. Here is A.J. Griffin. He took 7 shots, and he had 3 free throw attempts. It is possible to get fouled while shooting the basketball.
Possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Chilly overnight with the low temp dipping down to 26. Tomorrow, we'll have sunny skies, but we'll stay cool with the high temp hitting just 49. Our next rain comes with a 30% chance of showers on Friday, while on the weekend, we'll have a mix of sun and clouds. We'll stay dry and see high temps in the mid-40s. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Hey, who wants to make a resolution they can keep? Let's resolve to eat better pizza. Come on, you can do it with the Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers. Let's start slow with the crust. We'll hand toss that spring water dough just for you. Then add the freshest ingredients and serve it hot. Now, lift it. You're doing it. It's a change of pizza lifestyle. Happy New You from the Mellow Mushroom in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting. Canada is extending its mission to train Ukrainian soldiers by 3 years. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says Canada will also enlarge the mission. Trudeau said Wednesday that he's authorized the Canadian Armed Forces to deploy 60 more personnel to join 200 troops already on the ground, with further capacity to increase that number up to 400. It's part of a $340 million Canadian commitment. Trudeau says Canada's operation also includes a provision of non-lethal equipment, intelligence sharing, and support to combat cyber attacks. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 129 points, the Nasdaq up by 2, the S&P 500 down by 6, oil up $1.75 to $87.35 a barrel. More details at srnnews.com.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Now, who could that be?
It's Dominion Energy. I signed us up for a home energy checkup. It's time we learn how to save energy and money.
Well, how much does it cost?
Not a dime. It's free, and it only takes about an hour. Plus, we get a report on things we can do to make our home more energy efficient.
I don't know. Sounds too good to be true.
No. See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
A well-regulated humidor being necessary to the preservation of a cigar, the right of the people to keep and enjoy cigars shall not be infringed. For those who love a great cigar and want to spend time with others who are like-minded, the Cigar Militia offers the experience you're looking for. We're located in the Colonial Village next to the Melting Pot. The Cigar Militia offers exceptional cigars from around the world, staff to assist you in your selections, private cigar lockers, and a lounge where members can relax and enjoy.
Every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on The Point, join me, Chad Jordan, and my co-host Larry Jordan for the Palmetto Real Estate Pros. We'll help you out whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just learn all things real estate every Friday right here at 100.7 The Point.
Hi, this is Marsha Clayman.
And I'm Karen Pickard. We're your hosts for the Positive Point on Aging.
We'll talk about aging gracefully and senior care every Tuesday morning from 8:30 to 9 o'clock a.m.
Join us right here on The Point for the Positive Point on Aging.
Brought to you by Oakley Village Village of Lexington.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Hey, Tiger fans, 2022 Clemson baseball season tickets are currently on sale. Coach Monty Lee and your Clemson Tiger baseball team open the season on February 18th, and you can be there for every game by purchasing your season tickets. Home series include matchups against Miami, Florida State, NC State, Georgia Tech, as well as our annual home games against South Carolina and Georgia, and many more. So log on to ClemsonTigers.com to purchase your Clemson baseball tickets and come back home to Clemson.
Back at Sports Talk, Wednesday night edition, your final word on sports. In South Carolina every night, 6 to 8 p.m. All we ask for is 2 hours of your time, but the best 2 hours of your day right here on Sports Talk. Good to have you along. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen down at the Bergen Estate, the Palace, down in the are you closer to Sardis than you are to Florence?
Actually, not quite to Sardis, closer to Timmonsville than I am in Florence.
Do you ever go by and visit with Cale Yarborough?
You know, he has never invited me over there. And I've been to so many Darlington races. You would think the guy who has the pit road named after him would want to bring me over to his palatial estate. I know, somewhat where he lives. I could go over and stalk him and just stand outside the gate and chant. I don't want to. He does have a car dealership here in Florence as well.
He does.
Yeah, he sort of expanded his economic base.
For people who don't remember, he was an excellent football player in high school. If I'm not mistaken.
That I did not know.
Oh, my gosh. He was a really good running back. I think he had a scholarship to South Carolina for football, if I'm not mistaken. Running back.
Wow.
Those big old forearms of his. I've never seen a human. I mean, you talk about Popeye. And, of course, when you're wrestling a 3,500-pound machine like he had to, like all of them do. But, I mean, the way he drove, he had to have big, strong, meaty hands and arms to hang on to that thing. And he's a smallish person. He's not tall. What is Cale, you figure, about 5'7", 5'8"?
Yeah, he's well shy of 6 feet. And keep in mind, when he was driving, they didn't have power steering.
No.
So you mentioned wrestling a 300-pound behemoth around. Yeah, there's no question. That's what they had to do. But imagine how different his career would have been if he had pursued football as opposed to pursuing NASCAR racing. And how different would NASCAR be here in South Carolina?
He probably wouldn't have had a pro career. He wasn't going to play in the NFL probably at that size. Right. He could have gone to South Carolina, maybe had a good career as a running back or a DB or maybe a flanker, but no. He went and made himself into a Hall of Famer as a race car driver.
Terrific driver.
When he and Waddell Wilson were together, that was almost an unbeatable duo right there. Waddell Wilson making the engines and Cale driving. That was when Hardee's was the sponsor, and he drove the number, was it 28?
Ooh.
I just remember one time,
find that now.
I was covering the Southern 500, or it might have been the spring race, one of the two races at Darlington, and Cale blew up, and the engine just expired on him during the race. And, of course, back then, whenever something would happen, the media would go to the trailer, try and hunt down the driver or the crew chief. So we all took off for that and ran into Waddell Wilson. I guess he was coming off pit road. And somebody said, well, Waddell, what happened out there? His response was, it just blowed up. It just blowed up, just
he drove both
NASCAR.
Drove both the 11 and the 28, as you pointed out, Phil. Nice memory. And we're getting really, really close. We're going to have to get KT back on the program here in the next couple of weeks because
month away,
Daytona
baby.
is a month away.
the race at the L.A. Coliseum, if you hadn't remembered, they're going to be racing
Clash?
on dirt there in less than a month. Yeah, that's going to be fun. I am really interested to see what that looks like. That could be a real spectacle.
I think so. And NASCAR is so desperate to try and, explode out on the West Coast and get the California market and going into the Coliseum. I'll give them credit. I don't know how well it's going to work, but at least try it on a sort of non-points race like the Clash is. I think it's a pretty good idea.
Absolutely. Update some basketball real quick, then back to your phone calls on this Wednesday night. 31-24 now, Florida over Tennessee. Winthrop leading Upstate, 41-37, the two games that are underway. South Carolina, Vanderbilt tipping off at the top of the hour in Columbia. Vanderbilt, at one point they were a pretty hot team. They'd won 4 out of 5. Since they have lost 4 of their last 6. They wait a minute. Sorry. Reading the wrong stats. Let's try this one again. Vanderbilt had won 4 in a row. Since then, they've lost 4 of their last 5. There we go. Their only win being to Georgia. They're coming off a 19-point loss at Florida. Before that, an 8-point loss to Tennessee. So they're playing the Gamecocks tonight in Columbia. And again, this should be a game where South Carolina matches up pretty well with these guys. Do have to be concerned about Scottie Pippen Jr. and what he's doing on the court at all times. He's just a dangerous player, best player on their team, one of the best players in the SEC. And if South Carolina can replicate the production of their 3 in the backcourt from the other day, then I like their chances because they were excellent. And that's where they should be. That should not be an occasional occurrence that those 3 I'm talking about Couisnard, Bryant, and Stevenson. Should not be a rare occurrence that they have a big night and combine for 48 or 50 points. That should be a regular night for them.
Cannot commit 28 fouls and have both Bryant and Wildens Levesque foul out of the game the way they did at Vanderbilt, because I'm not sure they'll be able to overcome that again. So you've got to play a lot better defense and actually, move your feet as opposed to playing with your hands.
I would agree. Let's go to Neil in Greer with us next here on Sports Talk. Good evening, Neil. Good to have you with us, sir.
What's going on, Phil? I called to make a comment about the NFL, but I'm going to start because I heard you guys, buddy over there calling about Duke. And let me preface this by saying there's nobody that I've ever met personally that hates Duke as much as I. However, in this circumstance, I'm going to take up for Duke for 2 reasons. I'm going to give you both. Number one, because it's not like Duke took 30 free throws. They took only, 13 themselves. So it's not like they were calling a bunch of free throws the other way as well. That would be my first argument. But my second argument would be talking about an unfair advantage. If there's anybody that has an unfair advantage in any sport, let's just be honest. Clemson football playing the all cupcake conference every year. I mean, all they have to do is go 11-1 and, play one SEC team a year, usually at the beginning of the year, and usually it's a middle of the pack SEC team, and they're in the college football playoff. So if anybody has any gripe, it shouldn't be Clemson, because Clemson has, and I know it's talking basketball as opposed to football, but I'm just saying. And I probably am giving it away that I'm not a fan of Clemson there, Phil. But anyways.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this. You're right as far as, Clemson lives in a very soft neighborhood. It's not their fault that the rest of the ACC stinks in football. Now, that might be a changing with what's happened at Miami with Cristobal. Now there is the coach and his recruiting prowess and new excitement down there. That might get them turned back around. Now, North Carolina, I think Mac Brown is on a mission to improve that program after a disappointing year this year. He's bringing in a new defensive coordinator with obviously a great background there. That could make a difference there at North Carolina. NC State looks like now they might have turned the corner with Doran, and they're regularly producing 8, 9 win, 10 win teams. They beat Clemson in Raleigh this past year. So their quarterback returns, I believe. So they could be a factor in that division. Wake Forest, hey, look, Wake Forest proved itself this past season, got a lot better. But, Florida State's the big key. I think Florida State is the big key, not just in that division, but in the ACC, as far as if they ever get back to national prominence, that is going to, if that happens, I mean, that's going to level the playing field there quite a bit when it comes to Clemson and winning all the time in the ACC, I think. I think Florida State is the one that can, with NC State getting better, maybe North Carolina, maybe Miami, and then you throw Florida State in the mix if they get there, then you're looking at a much tougher slate for Clemson annually.
I agree with all that.
And let me say this. An improved South Carolina team at the end of the season, if you believe the hype. And why not? With the players they're bringing in, a quarterback that can play apparently, hitting the transfer portal, John, as hard as they have, you got to believe South Carolina is going to be a better team as well. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Phil, in fairness, they opened up with the team who ultimately won the national championship. So it's not like Clemson's trying to shy away. They're just, like you pointed out, they can't help the rest of the ACC is not to their level.
And look, their record against SEC teams, Clemson's record against SEC teams is lopsided in Clemson's favor, with the Georgia game being an exception last year. I'd have to look it up. Pat, you got it? Pat, no. Believe it or not, Pat knows Clemson's record against SEC teams recently.
I do. 12-4 versus the SEC going back to 2015.
Shocks me that Pat would know that.
Okay, but anybody that knows football knows playing 16 games over however many years as opposed to playing 8 to 10 teams in the SEC back to back to back is a whole different story. Now, the other argument would be Tom Brady wouldn't have all those Super Bowls if New England didn't have an unfair advantage playing in the AFC East, because they would have to have gone on the road sometimes, and they play, in Foxborough, where teams have to come there for only 2 games in 0-degree weather, snowing constantly. So you can make arguments both ways, and this is going to be my take for the NFL. And I've heard nobody say this, Phil, and I just don't get it, especially with these coaches who are getting paid millions of dollars. I keep hearing about this Buffalo, Kansas City thing. The overtime rules, or stop them 13 seconds. The squib kick, you got to kick it at the 5, make them run it out. How about this? They got it at the 25-yard line, right? 2 timeouts, 14 seconds. All you do is you put 2 safeties deep. You have every single one of your cornerbacks hold every receiver both plays. That's going to take 5 or 6 seconds both plays. It's going to give them 5 yards both plays, and they're at the 35-yard line. It is against the rules. But guess what? It's only a 5-yard penalty. If you hold them defensively where they cannot get open until your guys get to Patrick Mahomes, you cannot get more than 5 yards on those plays. I don't understand why. I mean, Mike Vrabel is notorious for bending the rules in the NFL, and that's all you have to do in that circumstance is hold their receivers. Even tackle them if you have to.
I like it.
That is an excellent point. That is and all those head coaches in the NFL making millions of dollars, not a single one thought about that.
I like it.
Hey, Phil, I'm going to call you Friday, and I'm going to make my predictions for this week's games. I appreciate your show, man. Have a good week.
That's an excellent call.
It really is. I mean, and especially, and you've got to be careful that it's holding. You've got to hold them within, the 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, because you can't let them get past you and then try and tackle them later. But yeah, if you hold them within the 5 or 10 yards, it's a great scheme because they don't put time back on the clock after a penalty is marched off.
I need to add real fast. He made a great point there at the end, but I have to at least push back a little bit against something our caller there mentioned. He mentioned Clemson facing – it's a little different when you only play a couple of SEC opponents a year compared to playing 8 a season. That's fair, but let's use that same argument against South Carolina then. They're 3-8 versus the ACC in that same time period. Shouldn't that logic make it easy? If the ACC is so bad, shouldn't South Carolina be able to win pretty handily against the ACC?
Considering that almost every one of those losses is against Clemson.
Okay, let's take it back to 2005 when they're 5-18 versus the ACC.
Wait a minute, go back to when?
Let me check these.
Remember now, they beat Clemson 5 years in a row.
Right.
Did they not beat anybody else from the ACC during that period?
Let me go back and confirm this, but I know it is heavily against South Carolina.
Well, yeah, I think you're right, but I'd have to go back and look at it year for year. Tell you what, let's hit the break, and you can do your investigation during the commercial break. Can we do that? We got it. All right, we'll continue with the phone calls. 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. And right now, Florida leading Tennessee 38-26. At the half, Winthrop and Upstate expected this to be a good one. Is 45-41 Winthrop leading at the break. Up in Spartanburg, I imagine the Hodge Center is rocking and rolling tonight. And Burns, by the way, has got 13 for Winthrop.
He's tough.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
We've got Major Billy Downer with us here from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Hunting season is upon us. Major Downer, how do we stay safe?
Smitty, that's a great question. Mistaken for game is a leading cause of hunting accidents each year. So this year, DNR is encouraging everyone to wear hunter orange and use a flashlight when traveling to and from your hunting location in low light. Remember, be safe, be seen.
And remember, life's better outdoors. Visit dnr.sc.gov for more.
I'm not like some whoop-de-doo executive chef. You know, I consider myself more of a baker than a chef. I like working with my hands. I like turning regular ingredients into like something spectacular.
The South Carolina Education Lottery has funded over 450,000 life scholarships in our state, giving countless students a chance to answer their calling, just like Aaron. Your passion is our purpose.
Devin Carter back in the starting lineup for South Carolina tonight. Apparently the leg is okay. Carter, Reese, Stevenson, Bryant, Levesque, and Couisnard will come off the bench, which is okay. I mean, Carter seems to give them some instant energy at the start of the game. You can bring Couisnard in off the bench to give you some instant offense. That might work well for the Gamecocks. We shall see. 888-898-2525 is our phone number. We go to Hilton Head for our next call tonight. It's Jamie down in Hilton Head. Welcome in, sir. Good to have you with us.
How you doing, sir?
Terrific.
Good, good. Listen, I have to disagree with your previous call, and I appreciate y'all standing up for Clemson, but that is the lamest bunch of junk I've ever heard. First of all, you can't compare football to basketball. Second of all, I don't believe that. I believe the officiating was, I'm not going to say it was good, but I believe it was consistent last night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I did not even realize that they'd only got the foul line one time until Coach Brownell called it out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 71 shots taken, and we got one free throw. But here's the real question, guys. And I don't want to stir up a hornet's nest, but Clemson has got now 11 games left, and the best I see them doing is 4-7, which would put them 4-8 in their last 12 at best scenario. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's going to be enough to keep Brad Brownell's job? If not, give Bob Ritchie a call confirming.
Well, first of all, right now Clemson is 11-9, 3-6 in the ACC after last night. So let's take a look at what's left. Florida State at home. I'll give them a good chance to beat Florida State at home. Why not? They can beat Georgia Tech on the road. That's 2. North Carolina, Duke, and Notre Dame at home, 3 in a row. Can they go 2-3 against those 3? They can beat Notre Dame.
I think they beat North Carolina.
Yeah.
I don't see them beating North Carolina or Duke, and I mean,
well,
I certainly didn't see them.
Let's give them Florida State. Let's give them Georgia Tech. Let's give them 2 out of 3 there. So that's 4. All right, they'll lose at Florida State. Who knows about Louisville with their situation? Wake Forest at home?
No, they're too good.
Okay. So
they're
that would be then going up to Boston College. Just give them a win there. That's 5. Georgia Tech at home in 6, and Virginia Tech.
Stop.
I see 7.
Stop, Phil.
I see 7.
Stop, Phil.
7 wins. That'd be 7 wins.
Phil.
That'd be 18 overall.
No. Stop. Why in the world should we believe as a Clemson fan, as much as I love them, why in the world should I have confidence in them going to Boston College when they couldn't even hold a 23-point lead on their own floor?
That's why. There's no way they duplicate that.
Yeah.
That's a game that's been circled on their calendar since they blew that big game. I agree with Phil. I think they went up there and win rather easily.
I don't think they blow a 23-point lead, but I mean they could lose But now Boston College was one of the 4 I had them winning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was, but I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, I just don't have any confidence.
If they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 home games left. If they can go, and I'll be conservative, they can go 5-2 in those 7 games, and then win at Georgia Tech and win at Boston College. 2 winnable road games, to say the least.
Okay,
that's 7 wins. That gets you right there to 18. And but you got to do it. Don't get me wrong. That gets you 7 wins. That gives you 10 ACC wins and 18 wins overall.
If they do that, then this conversation or what I just said would be minute. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do.
And you will be welcome to call back and apologize.
Yeah, well, and I will, and I'll be glad I'm having to do that. Okay, I'll be glad I'm having to do that. But like you said, it's got to happen first. And I mean, bottom line is they played great at Duke. I appreciate the effort, but you know what? He's 12 years into his tenure. It's a little late for more victories.
Well, true that. You got a new athletics director. By the way, with their loss last night, Clemson moved up 3 spots in the net by losing on the road.
Yeah.
They went from 76 to 73.
Shows you how ridiculous that net ranking is.
And that's what's so aggravating with Brownell is because he's a good X's and O's coach. Now, you want to talk about football and basketball. Brownell is another coming of Tommy Bowden. And what I mean by that is Brownell will go lose to somebody that he should beat, i.e. Boston College at home. And then he'll go, even though he didn't win last night, they'll play like lights out against Duke, against somebody they should get blown out of the arena.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The consistency is he's inconsistent.
They're 0-4 against Q1 teams so far this season.
Yeah.
So,
right. There you go.
Yeah, 9 of their wins are against Q3 and Q4 teams. So they need to pick it up here against the better comp. Hey, thanks very much. We appreciate it. Good hearing from you. Yeah. I think this thing works like, where'd you play? How close? Do they factor in margin of defeat? I think it's more like, did you play on the road and did you play a Q1 team on the road, which they did for Clemson? I mean, and Duke's that's a top 30 on the road, so that counts as a Q1 game, and they lose, so it goes down as a defeat in the Q1. But I think you get some credit for going in and playing a Q1 team on the road, even if you lose, I guess is how it works.
You should not get credit for a loss. Secondly, you certainly should not get credit for playing a conference game, regardless of where it is. You're scheduled to go there. It wasn't like Brad Brownell thought, you know what, middle of the season, let's go to Duke and see how we can do maybe to help our net rankings. That's why it's so ridiculous. And one thing in your scenario, Phil, if they do get to 18 wins, they're not going to get the typical ACC bounce that you would normally get because the ACC right now ranks 7th. If you're going to buy into the net rankings in terms of conferences, even behind the Mountain West. I mean, it's been such a bad year for the league that Clemson's going to have to, and I've always believed that both Clemson and South Carolina have to do above and beyond to get an at-large bid. And so Clemson at 18 wins going into the ACC tournament, I think they would have to get to probably the semifinals at worst, if not all the way to the finals. And obviously, if you win it, you get the auto bid, but to help themselves because they're not going to be able to say, well, we played in the best conference in the country when the ACC is actually 3 spots lower than the SEC this year.
South Carolina's moved up 2 to 107 since their last, that would have been, I guess that's since Saturday. They moved up to 107. So they have a ways to go. Let's see what Vanderbilt is in the net going into tonight's game and see if that's going to help the Gamecocks in any way. Yeah, Vanderbilt's got a net ranking of 86. So the Gamecocks have yet to defeat a quad 1 team. Vanderbilt's got 2 wins over Q1 teams. It's probably why their net is in the 80s and the Gamecocks are in the triple digits.
Florida State's not a Q1 team.
Apparently not. You know, it's
wow.
It's where you are right now in lifetime. They might have been Q1 when Clemson played them, or when South Carolina played them. I'm sorry, but it's where they are now. So let's see where they are now. Florida State, and that was on a neutral court.
Mm-hmm.
Florida State is, if I could type, Florida State is their net is 56 right now. So a Q1 win. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what the definition is. On the road, it's top 75, right?
Okay.
At home, it's top 30, I think. I'd have to go back and look at the definitions. I don't know what it is for a neutral court. The Florida State right now is 56, so obviously it's
Quad 1 is 1 through 50 in neutral.
1 through 50 on neutral? There you go.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. The United States is making no concessions to Russia's demands over NATO and Ukraine. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
The U.S. has delivered a written response to Russia, and Secretary of State Blinken says the administration gave up no ground on core principles. However, he said the written response to Russia also contains serious offers for a diplomatic path to de-escalate soaring tensions over Ukraine. Russia has warned it would quickly take retaliatory measures if the U.S. and its allies rejected its demands. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Democrats are cheering a decision by Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer to retire.
The announcement follows months of speculation over Breyer's future. As one of the High Court's 3 liberal justices, the 83-year-old Breyer's been under pressure from liberals seeking a strategic retirement, leaving while Democrats still control the White House and the Senate. President Biden is under pressure from the left to nominate a progressive judge, one that will likely be sympathetic to the left, and a nominee that's likely to be other than a white male, as progressives also demand more diversity on the High Court. Bob Agnew reporting.
The Minnesota DFL party will allow people without the right to vote to participate in precinct caucuses. State Democratic Party Chairman Ken Martin says the move means that felons whose voting rights haven't been fully restored and immigrants who aren't U.S. citizens can attend the party meetings and become convention delegates. Martin said the change was long overdue. The change follows a state court of appeals opinion that said parties themselves can decide who participates in caucuses and conventions, even if those same people can't vote in elections. Minnesota Republican Party Chairman David Hahn says voter eligibility is clearly defined in state law, and the idea raises questions and concerns. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 129 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
The credit card debt happened when my daughter was born. I was using one credit card account to roll over into another credit card account, and it was snowballing.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
When I first called Trinity, the representative understood the need based on the situation. They were great people to work with. From the first phone call that I made, they had me on a track to mitigate the credit card debt.
Trinity will consolidate your accounts into one easy-to-manage monthly payment, reduce your interest, and possibly improve your credit score. You'll save thousands.
Working with Trinity gave me the ability to save thousands of dollars. My name's Doug, and thanks to Trinity, I'm debt-free for keeps.
Call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976.
Republicans accuse the Biden administration of ignoring the warning signs in Eastern Europe. Iowa Senator Joni Ernst blamed what she called appeasement by President Biden for Russia's continued buildup near the border with Ukraine.
Senator Ernst tells the Salem Radio Network she's
very distraught over what we see going on in Eastern Europe with Ukraine.
What Senator Ernst describes as the very aggressive nature of Russia on display for all the world to see.
And it is due to this administration's doctrine of appeasement.
Ernst says part of the problem is the administration is not heeding warning calls coming from Capitol Hill.
We cannot keep doing this. Congress has been sounding the alarm bells for months now, and yet the administration has simply disregarded.
Ernst says the administration is also ignoring warning signs coming from other adversaries like Iran and China. Bob Agnew reporting.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Chilly overnight with the low temp dipping down to 26. Tomorrow we'll have sunny skies, but we'll stay cool with the high temp hitting just 49. Our next rain comes with a 30% chance of showers on Friday, while on the weekend we'll have a mix of sun and clouds. We'll stay dry and see high temps in the mid-40s. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather. WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. Ooh, I like when you press that one.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
We are back, Sports Talk Media Network. On a Wednesday night, good to have you with us. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number here on Sports Talk. Vanderbilt out to a 7-4 lead on South Carolina, a little over 3 minutes in. Stevenson and Levesque with 2 points each for the Gamecocks. For Vandy, they've got three guys who have scored to this point, so it's 7-4. Vandy shooting 60%, 3 of 5. The Gamecocks are a 2 of 4, and nobody has gone to the foul line. The Gamecocks,
No
the
fouls.
hackers that they are, have not committed a foul in almost 4 minutes. Stop the presses. The officials have swallowed the whistle so far. In fact, there hasn't been a foul called in the game to this point. So
now they have turned it over twice too, so that's the other aspect of the bad USC basketball team. Not just the fouls, but the turnovers in their own pace, I guess. 2 turnovers every 4 minutes. What would that translate to be, Phil?
2 turnovers every 4 minutes, so there are 5 4-minute periods and a half.
So 20
turnovers.
On pace for
Look
20.
at Corn throwing that math at you.
That's nice. A lot of math. I love it.
10-4. Vandy just got a turnover and hit a 3 off of it. So 10-4. Vandy is on top. In the meantime, we have got other basketball going on. We're going to update you in just a moment. 51-51. Winthrop and Upstate locked up in a good one. 4 minutes into the second half there in Spartanburg. That is for supremacy, I guess, in their division in the Big South. Also, we've got Florida in action tonight in the SEC. As soon as my scoreboard updates, I'll tell you what's happening in that ball game. Should be in the second half. Florida, Tennessee in Knoxville. Well, they're at halftime, 42-34. The Gators are leading the Vols. Florida coming off a loss on Saturday, and now they're trying to turn around and beat Tennessee on the road. That'd be a heck of a win for Mike White and company. Charleston Southern struggling this year, off to a 6-2 lead on Presbyterian. Miami and Virginia Tech are 8-8. Boston College and North Carolina are 3-3. Wofford leading Chattanooga 5-2. VMI over Furman 6-2. Western Carolina and the Citadel 2-2. Arkansas on top of Ole Miss 7-4. Let it be known that we bring you all the scores, even from the get. We go to Sam down in Charleston. Next up here on Sports Talk, recruiting coming up, and also Brad Brownell. Welcome in, Sam. How are you?
I'm a bit chilly and cold up here.
Well, it is winter.
Well, I'm waiting for the what's that word called? The spring
Summer.
forward.
You wait on summer?
Spring forward. Hey,
He's waiting on daylight saving time.
That's right. Hey, I want to start a conversation about you said about the future for the Gamecocks next year. Can I talk about that?
Of course.
Well, I got some good news from the Gamecocks this past week. Did you hear about the other new defensive coordinator coming in?
For who?
South Carolina.
Well, they have the same defensive coordinator they had last year.
I'm sorry to bug you about this, but have you guys heard about the Cougars went over William & Mary 94-93 last night?
We did. Heck of a win.
I got to tell you, I should have been there yesterday, but I can't. But
why weren't you there?
Well, because of COVID protocols.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
So the question I'm having is, when does the March Madness start up? Because for the Colonial Athletic Association, where is it going to be and where is it going to be?
Let's see. March Madness, March. It's in March, and sort of like second week in March. That's why they call it March Madness. It's in March.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. CAA will be participating in that. Maybe the College of Charleston. Hey, how do you feel about the CAA expanding, Sam? They're bringing in a bunch of new schools.
So what new schools are we playing next year is the question.
Well, I don't know the schedule for next year yet.
Well, I think we're playing in bigger schools next year, I hope. If we, it'd be really awesome if we played Old Dominion, some bigger schools like Harvard and Duquesne.
Speaking of Harvard, did you know, Sam, that I'm a Harvard grad?
Are you?
I just didn't know if you knew that.
I can tell.
Thank you. What about me leads you to believe I'm a Harvard grad? Is it my overall intellect, my verbal skills, my analyzation, my good looks? What leads you to believe that I'm a Harvard grad?
Because I think you're telling me about Harvard. How are they doing in basketball?
Well, let's see. How are we doing in basketball this year? We being Harvard. How are we doing, Pat? Are we doing well? We usually have a pretty good team.
10-6 right now.
Yeah,
fourth
10
in the
and
Ivy
6.
League.
10-6.
So the question I'm having is, when does Shane Beamer come to town? Because I want to talk to him about the future of the team next year. So the real conversation I'm having is, I want you to talk about this week. What do you think about the future for the Gamecocks football program? Because number one, I've never been to a game before. And number two, I want to come see you guys and do a podcast with you. I've never done it before. So third thing I want to tell you is I'm a huge fan of the show. I'm loyal to the show. And I like to come up, see you guys, talk about the future of the Gamecocks, and talk about the College of Charleston. What do you think about it?
I think that's phenomenal. And we're going to make that happen one day just for you.
And after COVID's over?
After COVID's over.
Because I just let you know, I've been home for a full year, and I didn't help with the basketball team before the shutdown hit. And then look what happened. We're back. We're open, but not partially open. But what do you think about the if our home team goes to the CAA championship, should I go with them up in DC?
Well, I mean, it all depends on what the COVID protocols are and how healthy you are and, what they'll allow you to do. But by all means, if you have the opportunity to go, I think you should go. If you're cleared to go, by all means.
The thing is that I just wanted to touch base with you about that because I really do miss my players. And my players miss me. I miss them. And I just can't do anything about it right now. I feel really bad right now. And man, it's been a tough year for everybody.
Absolutely.
If COVID is over, I can come up and talk about the CFC. This week is the 252 birthday at the CFC, if you know that.
Say that one more time.
The 252nd birthday is the College of Charleston's birthday.
252nd.
Yeah.
That's an old place. Old place.
Actually, I graduated there from 2015. So I'm going to do a longer video about what I have accomplished at the college and what my great thing about the college is. because I went to high school. The question I'm having is high school league. What do you think about the Bishop England Bound Bishops football program?
Well, I think at one time they were really good, and
especially injuries.
They've been struggling here a little bit of late, but at one point they were, winning state championships. And they were one of the first of the old Skeeza schools to move into the high school league and start winning championships. And that kind of upset everybody. They said, here we are with private schools in the high school league attracting players from all over, and it's not really fair. That's what they said. I'm telling you what people said. Yeah.
I totally agree. I'm sorry to take up your time, and I'm really sorry to keep this long. But if anybody is hearing to this, we have a home game tomorrow night at 7 against Northeastern. We want everybody in Columbia come down and come see us. And the question I'm having is, I would say our. I say our. You say city. Our.
Your city.
Our.
City, Sam.
Our city, like Charleston is belongs to the whole state. Is that what you're saying? Our city?
Hey, this is our city, baby.
He's trying to get a little chant going, Corn, and Sam to help out too. It's Hofstra tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, and then Saturday Northeastern. So you have two home games coming up, and also you were asking earlier about when March Madness starts. Selection Sunday is March 13th, so that's when they'll announce all the bracketology and so forth, and then the actual games start that following Thursday, March 17th and 19th. That's when the first round starts.
All right, Sam, we thank you very much. Always a pleasure hearing from you, and stay with those Cougs. They had a couple of bad losses on the road, come home, got a nice win last night, so it's a good way to turn things around. Let's see what's happening over at USC as we go into the break. Tie ball game, 13-13. Vandy only won for its last 7. The Gamecocks are 5 of 10. Gamecocks have not shot a free throw yet. Must have that crew from Duke. Have not shot a free throw. Well, Vandy's only 1 for 2. All right, we'll be back.
COVID-19 booster shots are now available for all South Carolinians 16 and older. Increase your protection from COVID-19 by getting your booster shot. Learn more at scdhack.gov/COVID-19 booster. Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdhack.gov/vaxfax.
Touchstone Energy Cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
All right, the South Carolina Vanderbilt, they are playing over at the CLA in Columbia. 13-13, 12 minutes to go in the opening half. Last night, Clemson went up to Durham, up on Tobacco Road. They got the typical Tobacco Road treatment the visiting team gets, of course, especially if you're from outside the Tar Heel state. You're going to get something a little different. I know. You sound like you're whining and conspiracy theory and all that kind of stuff. It's not a conspiracy theory if it happens every time. And it happens pretty much every time they go up there. It happened to South Carolina back when it was in the league 50 years ago. But it's kind of the beauty of mystique of Tobacco Road, too, is knowing that you're going to get screwed by the officials when you go up there. One free throw for an entire ball game is ridiculous. I'm sorry. There's more contact than that in a 40-minute college basketball game in this era of college basketball. Here's Brad Brownell, the Zoom that he did with the media after the last night loss. Tough loss for the Tigers. Would have been a big feather in the cap to get that win up at Cameron, but it was not to be. And the Tigers, they took it right to the last minute. And give Duke credit. They ran a nice play, made the basket to go up by 4, and kind of put the game on ice. Clemson scored a basket, but it was too late for the inbounds to do anything, and Duke ended up winning there by 2. So a good win for Mike Krzyzewski and the Blue Devils, a top 10 team again, and a very talented team. Like I say, an AAU national team. They go and get the best players off the best AAU teams in the country every year. They put them together for about a year, make their run, and then go do it again the next year. Here's Brownell after that disappointing loss last night in Durham.
Great basketball game. Incredibly proud of my players and team for the way we competed and just stuck to what we were trying to do tonight. Thought we played very well on both ends, and give Duke's kids credit. They made the plays that they needed to make to be in the games. Big baskets down the stretch. Had a couple opportunities that in the second half where I thought we got some good balls inside and didn't quite finish. But you look at the stat sheet, we did everything we can do in terms of 19 assists, made 10 threes or 12 threes, or whatever it is. Took care of the ball and guarded them about as well as we could guard them. Just wasn't quite good enough. So again, great game. Our team's getting better, and really just proud of our guys for their fight tonight. Questions?
The 4 fouls going into that final possession.
Say that one more time.
You guys had 4 fouls on that final possession going into Apollo. What were some of the things you were telling your guys going into that possession?
There's only 38 seconds. We didn't think there was a lot of time. If we try to foul 3 times, that wasn't going to work. And then have enough time to really do a lot. I didn't think that would be good. We just, we were going to guard them, see what happened. If we got a miss, we thought we could come down with a chance to tie or win the game. And, I got to see the play on tape. He got it in a pretty good spot and kind of powered through us and made it wasn't an easy shot, but we didn't quite get there with enough help. But, we discussed whether we're going to foul 3 times and, make them go to the line and shoot a free throw. But I just didn't want to give them points. The ball was going to be in good free throw shooters' hands. So try to guard them and get it done. I just think we swarmed to the ball. Our guys played incredibly hard. I thought we guarded the ball reasonably well. Probably not as well in the second half, but I thought when they got it into positions, our guys really tried to swarm, just make them uncomfortable as much as we can. They're big, strong, physical players. They knock us around a little bit, and so we try to get some hands in there to get some deflections, have active hands. I know we had 6 steals, I think, in the first half. I don't know what it all ended up. We ended up with 9, but just that.
Right, you guys had a couple of looks. We had a couple of looks y'all had playing.
Well, I wish David would have tried to score. We were trying to get the ball to David down low and thought maybe he, get Mark Williams a little bit away from the basket. And I would like to have seen. I need to see that David have an opportunity to try to play through. He's a guy that scored in there. If you follow us, he scored some baskets in there for us. And obviously, then PJ ended up with a shot. It's okay. But we had some other possessions, I can't remember off the top of my head, that, weren't quite as good as I would have liked. But some of that's Duke's defense, and they're big, strong, physical guys. PJ didn't finish as well tonight against Mark Williams as we probably needed him to win the game.
Hey, Brian, you guys had 15 fast break points, had that 100 transition. That's something you thought you guys could explore coming in, and I guess the team looked like we're setting up the event at the end, but how much of that was something you thought you could explore now?
Yeah, it just, transition points against Duke are hard to come by, and they're usually great at it. So, we're going to run when we have opportunities. You can't let them rebound with as many guys as they rebound with and then not try to attack in a transition. And so we certainly told our guys we have numbers and, to go be aggressive. And, there were a couple of times I didn't think we ran as well, and we didn't have tremendous spacing, and so we didn't convert, especially in the first half. But, we certainly got some baskets that way in the second half, and I thought that helped us.
Yeah, thank you. I really in the second half. Where am
I going?
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, thank you. Really big on the second half. What do you think he did most specifically in that back half of the game?
What did he do?
Yeah.
I think they just went to him a lot, and he's a handful. He makes all kinds of shots. He made a couple threes. He drives it in there. He posts it. He's a 3-level scorer. Obviously, he's almost 20 points a game. I mean, it's tough cover. I thought our guys did a decent job, of trying to make him uncomfortable at times. But obviously, at the same time, they got shooting all over the court, so it's hard to just leave guys. That's why they're good, is they've got multiple ways to beat you.
Brad, how pleased were you with the physicality of your team tonight to out-rebound them and score more points?
Yeah, I'm very pleased. I think our guys played incredibly hard. We really blocked out. I thought we were physical defensively. We didn't shy away from being aggressive offensively and playing in the paint and doing things that we needed to do, whether it's throwing it in, driving it in. I thought our team played, almost as well as we could play.
He was upset with about 9 minutes left. Just what did you see from your guys to battle back and get back in the take lead?
Yeah, that's been here a lot of times where you're on the ropes and it's 7 or 8 or whatever it is, and you're 1 or 2 possessions from getting blown out. And it's I thought our guys Chase made some plays. I thought our guys really hung in there. Got a couple stops, a couple transition baskets, cut it to a 1 possession game. We did all we could do. We put game pressure on Duke down the stretch and give their kids credit. 2 minutes to go. It was a tied 2 minutes to go, right? And they made some plays down the stretch and won the game. And, so that's what good teams do. You put game pressure on them and they handle it. And so they played like a top 10 team tonight.
You guys have 8 days off, which is probably the longest you've had in a while. So what do you want to kind of rest up? Obviously, some injuries and it's kind of the style.
Yeah, we PJ and Hunter Tyson for us need rest. Both guys are playing, through some physical ailments that we get this time of year. We just don't want to lose our momentum. This is it's always hard. It was hard for our team when we didn't get to play Duke the last time because we came back from Christmas. We just won at Virginia. We were on a roll. We felt really good. We were excited about the December 8th game, the 9th game. And then we kind of got put on hold for a while. And now, the last 2 games, Pittsburgh we won. We played well tonight. We'd rather be playing Saturday. But, we've got some time, so we need to heal our wounds, make sure we keep this momentum and stay connected and be ready to compete for the home stretch.
With the way that you guys played on the inside, was it kind of surprising to see that you only went to the foul line once tonight?
Yes. That's happened here before too.
With PJ going 6 for 21, how hard is it to win?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, he's a tremendous player. And he has a couple bad luck. He had a tip dunk that he missed. Got it to him low a couple of times. He usually scores. He had a couple of roll out on him. And now some of this is Mark Williams too now. Mark Williams is a big factor. He's, elite defensive player in this league. And block shots, bother shots, get you looking over your shoulder. Where is he? And that certainly happened. And, we're playing with a young sophomore big guy that, he's probably our best player. And, there are times we look like that. He's not quite as experienced. He's not quite ready to consistently be that level guy, but he's going to be that guy at some point. And tonight he hung in there and battled his tail off. I'm really proud of him. But yeah, we needed him to make 2 more baskets to win the game. That happens.
Going to open it if anybody on Zoom has 1 or 2 questions. That's what we got left.
Hey, coach, it's Trevor.
with CUTigers.com. Al played the first 5 minutes of the second half and then sat for the rest. I think you brought him back in for that last play, but was he okay physically?
Yeah, he was fine. I just kind of felt like Nick got in a little bit of a groove out there, and that team dynamic was good. You know, I talked to the staff about we want running back out or running back in there. We just kind of felt like, hey, the group that was playing well, so we stuck with it.
Brad Brownell, following last night's disappointing loss at Duke, Tigers are off until a week from tonight. They got an extended break. A week from tonight, they'll host Florida State, and then things will get very, very busy for them heading down the stretch. They try to find a way to get to the tournament. South Carolina Vanderbilt, 19-19 at the under 8 timeout. Gamecocks are shooting it well, 54%, 44% for Vandy. Reese is leading the Gamecocks with 8. Stevenson has 5. Pippen Jr. has 11 for Vanderbilt, and they are all tied up, 19-19 at the break. The Gamecocks have turned it over 7 times to this point. Got to fix that, and we'll be back.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at noon, right here on The Point. Take time for a visit to PragerU. We'll tackle today's issues, interview intriguing newsmakers, do some teaching and some learning together on 100.7 The Point and MakeThePointRadio.com.
Hi, this is Jennifer Coolidge. The American Heart Association says the disco song Stayin' Alive is the near-perfect beat for hands-only CPR. If you see a teen or adult collapse from cardiac arrest, you only need 2 steps to help save a life. Call 911 and push hard and fast in the center of the chest to the beat of the song Stayin' Alive. Disco is back and it's saving lives. To learn more, go to heart.org/hands-only-CPR.
Nationally supported by the WellPoint Foundation.
Social distancing slows the spread of coronavirus, so if you have a fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going in. More info at coronavirus.gov. Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting. A requirement to get vaccinated against COVID-19 kicks in Thursday for millions of healthcare workers in about half the states. The mandate is starting first in states that didn't challenge the rule from the Biden administration. It will take effect later in February for 25 other states that have filed lawsuits. The U.S. Supreme Court earlier this month lifted injunctions that have put the vaccine mandate on hold. The Federal Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services says it won't immediately resort to penalties for health facilities that have a plan to try to achieve full compliance by their staff. Another day on Wall Street where the Dow plunged 129 points. The Nasdaq, however, up by 2. The S&P 500 lower by 6. Oil up to $87.35 a barrel. This is SRN News.
When you're a military veteran with over 40,000 organizations trying to help you, it can be hard to find the right information. That's why AARP brings together valuable resources to help you navigate your options. AARP.org/veterans. With the free veteran employment and fraud prevention resources, caregiving tools, and access to discounts, AARP, on a mission to support veterans. Visit AARP.org/veterans today.
Everyone knows that here at The Point, we are all about supporting local businesses. We are all about local, local, local. You cannot get more local than my friend Greg McCoy and his business, Simplified Mortgage Solutions. Fran Halloran here. If you're buying a home or you're looking to refinance your current home, you owe it to yourself to call Greg. He is the real deal. You can expect Greg to treat you like you are his only client. You can expect Greg to scour the market to find you the best rate available. You can expect Greg to charge you a fair price for his work and his service. Why would you deal with some national company headquartered in who knows where when you can do business with Greg? Need further persuasion? Okay, I didn't even mention the good Greg does in our community by supporting local charities like Blue Star Mothers and Camp Chemo. Come on, you need to call Greg. Online at simplifiedmortgagesc.com, or you can call Greg at 803-722-6044. That's 722-6044.
Hey, it's Jay with the Melting Pot. So this is the time of year when we try to be responsible and plan out the next 12 months. I'm not good at it either, so let's work on this together. Go and grab your calendar, whether it's on your phone or on your refrigerator. Find your anniversary, your best friend's birthday, your kid's birthday, your spouse's birthday, graduation day, and write in Melting Pot. We're the premier special occasion restaurant in the Midlands, the Melting Pot.
Oh man, storm's coming. I need to be prepared. Where's my phone? Oh, there it is. All right, here's the Dominion Energy app with Face ID, and I am ready to go. That's right, folks. If those South Carolina storms hit, the new Dominion Energy mobile app is a must-have. So easy to use and convenient to have around. It's not just for power outages. With this app, you have instant access to all of your energy usage, too. Pretty cool stuff. Take it from me. Be prepared this season and download it today.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
All right, quick update of the basketball. Then we'll get to recruiting and news regarding a Clemson target just coming out. Tell you about that in just a moment. Over at the CLA, it is Vanderbilt with the 22-21 lead on South Carolina. 4:51 to play in the opening half. And elsewhere, the other games that we're keeping an eye on tonight around the states, around the SEC and the ACC. Of course, it's an active night in college basketball. And we'll tell you here that Upstate has gone up on Winthrop, 65-58, 9:53 to play. Florida, 48, Tennessee, 45, 15:46 left. Charleston Southern, 21, Presbyterian, 14, 8:27 to play. Miami, 22, Virginia Tech, 19, first half. North Carolina leading Boston College, 15-13, first half. Chattanooga over Wofford, 23-17, first half. Furman, 20-17 over VMI, first half. Citadel Western, 11-11, first half. Arkansas, 13-10 over Ole Miss, first half. And we've got coming up Texas A&M, LSU, NC State, Notre Dame, Florida State, and Georgia Tech. There you go with the update on the hoops. Let's get to the recruiting report for tonight. Why make you wait any longer? Our recruiting report brought to you by Seawells. You know, with springtime coming up, it's time to have those gatherings, those festivals, those parties, those banquets. You need the very best in the catering business. We suggest you give Seawells the phone call. They should be your first and your only call. It's all you need. 803-771-7385. Seawells will make your event a memorable experience. They've served the state of South Carolina with excellent food and service for over 70 years. They can handle all the planning and all your catering needs. They have a beautiful facility on Rosewood Drive. It's huge, with huge banquet halls. Or if you need something a little less spacious, they can chop it down and make it tighter for you. Whatever you need, 1125 Rosewood Drive. And, of course, that's the location of the daily luncheon buffet. They'll have another great spread for you tomorrow. It's only $12. It is well done. It's clean. Follows the DHEC suggestions going way back to when all this was going on. They still stick to all that, so you've got plenty of room. People aren't sitting on top of you. You can spread out, enjoy a nice, safe lunch for only $12 at Seawells. That's every day, Monday through Friday from 11 till 2. So in recruiting tonight, just coming down a few moments ago, Kobe McLeod, linebacker out of Tampa, announced on Instagram and then on Twitter his commitment to Clemson. Second one for the Tigers this week from the 4 official visits they had over the weekend. Of course, he is the brother of Clemson receiver, now with the Steelers, Ray McLeod. Kobe McLeod's a good player in his own right, has really good speed, can come up and play the run, has the speed to drop back in coverage. That's what they like about him, his versatility. This past season, he had 80 tackles, 3 sacks, and 3 interceptions. He's the second linebacker commitment for the class. He gives them 16 high school commitments for the 2022 class. And again, I say it that way because they've got the transfer, the quarterback, and if he's on full scholarship, which I think he is for his grad school, and he's enrolling now, he'll have to count against this class. That would mean 17 spots taken up of the maximum 25. Of course, Clemson wasn't going to get to the 25 max anyway. All right, so Clemson picks up another commitment there. Meantime, another one of those players who was in over the weekend, 2022 running back Andrew Paul of Texas. Dabo Swinney was out to see him yesterday, and he's got, of course, Georgia, Oregon, and Michigan also vying for his signature on Wednesday. While out in Texas, Swinney made a stop in on cornerback Braxton Myers in the 23 class. He's out of Coppell, Texas, 6'1", 185. They offered last week. Mike Reed, the cornerbacks coach, has been recruiting him and talking with him. And last week, he gave him the scholarship offer. Myers said he's very surprised about it. He's been working hard. It was great to get the offer from Clemson. He plans to be at the Junior Day this Saturday. He'll have a taste for what the program is like and what it feels like, possibly, to play away from home. What you said really doesn't matter. The distance is not an issue. And it appears Clemson's in good shape with him. He says when he puts out a top 10 that Clemson will be in it. He's just looking forward to seeing all the coaches and seeing the other recruits and having a good time. Also on his offer list are Auburn, Baylor, Boston College, California, Kentucky, Missouri, Florida State, and Southern Cal. Last season, he broke up 11 passes, intercepted 3. He also had 40 tackles, 5 tackles for loss. Defensive tackle Elijah Davis, 6'5", 290. You might remember him. He was a standout at Wagner Sally. He could have gone to a major program, but he didn't have the grades, so he had to go to junior college. Played this past season at East Mississippi Junior College. He'll be there again this season. 25 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss this past season. And now he is hearing from the big boys again. You know, Will Muschamp's staff offered him back in high school, but of course he had to go the junior college route. And now Shane Beamer's staff has picked up on that with defensive line coach Jimmy Lindsey making the offer to Davis, who said it was great having South Carolina reach back out and offer. He says they've been recruiting him all through the year. He's been talking to Lindsey. They like his playing style, and they like his size, of course. Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas Tech have also offered. And so he's looking around. He's excited about having these opportunities. He can't take a visit because he's a non-qualifier. Can't take a visit until June, July. He had planned to visit Ole Miss this coming weekend until being informed he couldn't make the trip. He'll go to Oxford, Columbia, Athens, and other football hotspots in June and July. No timetable on a decision. Transfer running back Dante Miller from Columbia University said this afternoon he plans to tweet out his next move Friday. Has a PWO offer from USC. Washington and Virginia Tech have also been talking to him, with the Huskies indicating a scholarship offer on the table. Defensive tackle Xavier McLeod of Camden was offered by Michigan. 2023 receiver Elijah Caldwell, Northwestern, offered by West Virginia. Dorman offensive tackle Marquis Anderson, offered by LSU. Clemson target athlete Musa Kane of Blairstown, New Jersey, offered by Wisconsin. Athlete Nicholas Harbor of Washington, offered by Alabama. Clemson offered him earlier in the week. Clemson USC target defensive tackle Victor Burley, Warner Robins, Georgia, offered by Arkansas. USC targets offensive tackle Zechariah Owens and cornerback R.J. Johnson, McDonough, Georgia, offered by Indiana. USC target safety Caleb Spencer, South Chesterfield, Virginia, offered by Duke. Marshall Campbell, USC target tight end Jelani Thurman of Fairburn, Georgia, offered by Cincinnati, West Virginia, Virginia, and Texas. USC target safety Jeremiah Anglin, Lake Wells, Florida, offered by Cincinnati. USC target defensive tackle Stephen Green, Rome, Georgia, offered by Kentucky. USC target running back Dalen Smothers of Charlotte, offered by UConn and Georgia Southern. USC target linebacker Phil Pisciotti, Percy, Pennsylvania, offered by Miami and Connecticut. USC target TJ Searcy of Thomaston, Georgia, offered by Indiana. USC target linebacker Jaden Robinson of Lake City, Florida, offered by Nebraska. USC target linebacker Troy Ford of Savannah, offered by Iowa State and Duke. USC with some offers out today. Linebacker, did I run your music out? USC offered linebacker Bobby Washington, 6'3", 205 of Miami. 2024 corner Charles Lester III, 6'2", 170 of Sarasota. 2025 receiver Santonio Isaac, 6 feet, 160, Tampa. USC target safety Cameron Upshaw, Perry, Florida, offered by Mississippi State. USC quarterback target Dylan Lonergan of Snellville, Georgia, was offered by Miami. Cincinnati also offered him, in case you were wondering. And just a quick double check to make sure that we've covered everything. Chris, you think we've covered everything?
Gosh, I hope so. I can't imagine there are that many more offers out there for either team.
Well, USC offered 2024 defensive back Antoine Jackson of Fort Lauderdale, since you asked if there are any others. Clemson and South Carolina coaches were by Greenville High today. By the way, you see where Shane Beamer was flying around the state today in a helicopter?
How about that?
Yeah, following the lead of Kirby Smart flying around Georgia in a chopper. So somebody loaned a chopper to the Gamecocks. Oh, here was a major note I meant to mention, too. First reported by Paul Strelo of Tiger Illustrated. We talked about this young man way back, but not in a while. 2022 running back Keith Adams Jr., the son of the former Clemson star linebacker, who now lives in Utah, moved from Georgia to Utah. He's had a gray shirt offer from the Tigers, and he plans to visit this weekend. So I imagine Dabo Swinney must think they're going to be getting him and bringing him in for an official visit as a gray shirt guy. USC offered linebacker Javian Stevens of Fort Myers, Florida. I don't think I mentioned that to you there, Chris. That's another offer by the Gamecocks. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will do it. Though I'll also say this.
Well done.
Well, there's one more little thing here. So Paul Strelo, of course, who was so dialed in with Clemson recruiting. I mean, nobody does it better than Strelo, Tiger Illustrated. And so he believes, if I can draw a conclusion from what he wrote today, my belief from what he wrote, I shouldn't say he believes, what I'm taking from what he wrote to his readers this morning is that Clemson does not believe they're going to get Arch Manning. And he said that he pointed out that while other coaches had been to see Manning play basketball this week in particular, Dabo Swinney has not. And that they're really putting their attention on Chris Vizzini, quarterback out of Alabama, who's coming in this weekend for their junior day for the 23 quarterback. So, again, taking the lead from a guy who is inside Clemson recruiting and knows the feeling I took from what he wrote was that Clemson was not in the mix for Arch Manning, the number one, according to some, the best quarterback in the 23 class. But we shall see if that turns out to be the case.
I mean, would the kid actually say that, guys, I'm not interested in Clemson anymore? Or they just, he doesn't take their phone calls? I mean, how would you get an idea that the kid is starting to cool on you?
From what I can gather, I don't think the Mannings would do that. I think they would tell him up front. They would say, you know, and I don't know that that's the case. I'm only going by, and I think, you know, with his inside information, I'm just, you know, that's what he wrote. I mean, he basically wrote that it looked like Clemson was not going to be in the hunt there with him. And they hadn't been to see him to play basketball as others have done, some of the other favorites have been there to see him, which is kind of an indication when you don't follow a kid, when you're not going to his games and doing things like that, that's an indication that you've moved in another direction. You've moved in another direction because, you know, you've got some kind of indication that, that they have as well. So that's just what I took. I'm just sharing. I try to share what other people are writing. There's a lot of people out there covering recruiting. Try to pass along what I hear from the reliable sources. Late in the half, the Gamecocks are down to Vanderbilt, 30-25. The Gamecocks have gone without a field goal for the last 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Put them in a 5-point hole late in the half. And we'll be back.
Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
The Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology, known as SIMT, is ready to meet your 3D printing, machining, and social media listening needs. Our list of clients includes business and industrial partners from around the state, the nation, and the globe. In addition, we are providing social media listening services to a variety of businesses and educational institutions, from large companies to law firms to small rural school districts. The SIMT also rents space for training, conferences, and trade shows. Catering services are available for events being held at the SIMT. We are dedicated to customer service and look forward to serving you. Check us out on the web at simt.com to see a full list of our manufacturing services, or give us a call at 843-413-2740.
Life, it has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
All right, they've gone to the half over the CLA, and Vanderbilt's up 30-26. Gamecocks had a shot there in the final seconds. Carter missed a three-pointer. That's Chico Carter Jr. Missed a three. Gray got the rebound, missed the layup. And so the Gamecocks are down 30-26, 10 of 23 from the floor, but 10 turnovers, as many turnovers as they have field goals, 3 of 9 from the line. Not shooting it well, not protecting the basketball well. Both teams with 9 fouls. Vanderbilt is 5 of 8 from the line, 11 of 26 from the floor, 5 turnovers for Vanderbilt. All right, let's update these other scores that we've been watching. And that would be, of course, the upstate game against Winthrop, and North Carolina's in action tonight. The scoreboard is a little bit on the slow side tonight. Let's go, boys. So Tennessee has come all the way back, leading Florida, 5:05 to play, 65-62. 1:20 to play. Upstate, 80. Winthrop, 76. At the half, Charleston Southern, 35. Presbyterian, 34. Halftime, Miami, 36. Virginia Tech, 31. Halftime, North Carolina, 33. Boston College, 31. Maybe we don't give Boston College the credit they deserve. When Clemson goes up there, that might be tougher than we think. Chattanooga leading Wofford 32-23. That's at the half. Furman 39-30 over VMI at the half. Furman having another good year. Western Carolina all over the Citadel 33-18 in Charleston at the half. And it's Arkansas leading Ole Miss 30-23 at halftime. Now, the PGA Tour, with all its wisdom, knowing that CBS is their TV partner this week, CBS has got NFL football on Sunday. They have moved up the start of their next tournament, the Farmers Insurance Open in San Diego. They play that at Torrey Pines, don't they? I believe they do.
Yes.
Yes.
Beautiful
golf course. And they play it on the North Course and the South Course, 2 different courses. And so they moved the start of the tournament up to today. So they're going to play Wednesday through Saturday. So Billy Horschel, 63, Michael Thompson, a 64, Stephen Yeager, a 65. They're all playing the North Course. Kevin Tway, a 65 on the North Course. Ricky Fowler, a 66. I think the North Course is easier than the South Course.
I would hope so.
I mean, to me, they play the same. But, to the pros, they play a little different. That doesn't mean I've ever played Torrey Pines. I have been to Torrey Pines before. On a baseball trip, we were in San Diego. We rode up to Torrey Pines to look at it. Didn't play it, just looked at it and said, man, it'd be fun to play. That was the year, that would have been the year they hosted the Open that summer. I want to say 2007, maybe. I got a shirt from there that had the
cool
logo of the Open that they had for that year. Anyway, some other scores of interest. Bill Haas shoots a 67. Matt Neesmith, a 68. Dustin Johnson, a 68. And Jonathan Bird, a 69. Also, we have Brooks Koepka, and he shoots a 70. DeChambeau shoots a 70. Doc Redman in at 74. Phil Mickelson, a 76. Kyle Stanley, an 80. All right. Farmers Insurance Open, opening round today in San Diego. All right. Let's see what else I wanted to mention to you as we head down the home stretch here and see if South Carolina can pull it out. So Clemson gets the commitment from Kobe McLeod, linebacker out of Tampa. Tigers piecing together this class here down the stretch, looking to add a couple of more over the final, 1 week to go until signing day. It'll be time to put the 22 class to bed and move on. South Carolina also almost filled up. Oh, there was something else I didn't mention that just dawned on me. Did I not mention this in recruiting? Let me go back and look at my notes. Did I mention? I thought I had put that in my notes, but I did not mention this. Hale McGranahan from the Big Spur reported earlier today that South Carolina is going to have an official visit this weekend from a transfer wide receiver who had been at Mississippi State, and he had been a player that South Carolina had recruited out of high school. In fact, he took an official visit to South Carolina while he was in high school. And I'm stalling here until I can pull up the name again because it hasn't stuck with me. Oh, come on, Corn. Let's see if I can find this real quick. Anyway, I'll tell you who the player is. Unfortunately for him, he played at Mississippi State. And you might remember a couple of years ago, Mississippi State was playing Tulsa in a bowl game. Remember that? And a brawl broke out at the end of the game. And he was the player caught on tape, on video, for Mississippi State, who went over and stomped on a Tulsa player who was on the ground.
I remember that.
Malik, it's coming to me. Malik, what's his last name? It's not coming to me. Malik, Pat, you find it? Anyway, I'll find it here in a second.
You're not thinking of, I see Teddy Knox is a wide receiver in the portal for Mississippi State. He's the only receiver I see in the transfer portal for them.
No. Malik. I retweeted it earlier, and I thought I had put it in my notes for tonight, and it just hit me that
Malik Heath.
That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Look up Malik Mississippi State brawl, and that's what you get. First thing off the Google is
did I
a
not
video.
Mention this? I guess I must.
I don't believe so. Yeah, this was one you did not. Yeah,
I had in front of me. Yeah, Malik Heath, and so according to Hale McGranahan from the Big Spur, Heath is going to be visiting South Carolina officially this weekend. So, I mean, I only bring that up because he made a lot of news that day because that was
news.
Played over and over again on ESPN and the outlets. People came down on him pretty hard for that taking place because it was pretty bad. That was a bad. Remember, that was a really bad football brawl. They were
yes, it was.
They were carrying on all across the field. Helmets were swinging. guys were jumping on each other, and they called him. And the thing that really came back to bite him, not only did he stomp on the guy, but he took off and ran. He stomped on him. You look at the video, he stomped on him and he took off and ran. And people really came down hard. Now, look, I'm not holding it against him or anything. I'm just saying he had a bad moment where emotions got the better of him there. He's a good player, had 71 catches in his career at Mississippi State.
Hey, Corn, I'm finding an article here you actually wrote in 2019 where he made an official visit to South Carolina before when Will Muschamp.
Right, exactly.
So he's very familiar with the Gamecocks.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we've talked to him before. So that's something to look for. We'll talk about this some tomorrow as we start to put this recruiting season to bed. South Carolina's really relying on the transfer portal, John, in putting this class together. You wonder if this is going to be something that Shane Beamer plans to continue to do in heavy doses in the years to come. And is that a wise thing to do? Because if you rely on the transfer portal, you're going to be constantly having to recruit the same positions over and over. Anyway, thank you, Chris.
Yes,
thank
sir.
you, Pat. Have a great night, everybody.
Someone will be right with you.